speaking of AI, the other interesting AI story was that Timbaland, has announced an AI artist that he's working with. He's launched an AI company called Stage Zero, and he's partnered up with Sunu. So Sunu is a platform that allows you to create beats via AI. I actually had to play around with it, and the music is actually pretty okay. Like, it's not amazing,
New theme tune.
but essentially, yeah. So essentially, Timbaland is going to input the musical demos, then Sunu will create the melodies and vocals, and then it will be modified by like a human person. But essentially, the artist is this person called Tata, I think. Yeah, and she's an Asian woman, or looks appear to be Asian woman. I don't know. This is very dodgy, I'm gonna say, because just in terms of like, yeah, I don't get it personally. In terms of just like, why are you doing that? I don't know. But she won't be real, and she will release and produce music. Now the backlash has been quite severe. A lot of musical artists have already come back and criticized Timbaland. I saw him on a Twitch stream where he was getting cussed out by other producers. What's your initial thoughts of this? You're married to a musician. You know what I mean? You are very much going to gigs. I see you kind of like, somebody who's very much involved in the arts. You wrote a stage play. You know what I mean? So what's your feelings about credible artists like Timbaland now saying, "I think the future is AI," and I'm hitching my wagon to it?
He's gone proper. If you can't beat them, join them. I still find it really problematic how artists copyrighted work has been used by models. You will notice that I did not make a
Facts.
Studio Ghibli avatar. I that was an act of protest. I decided not to do that. Out of respect for the artists. And I find it very, very problematic that, copyrighted material from novels to songs to poetry is being, fed to Anthropic, OpenAI, Microsoft X, all these big tech platforms that quite frankly can afford to pay the artists, can afford to pay the creators, and just choosing not to for the benefit of them, right? Commercially, financially, like who's getting richer out of all this? It ain't me, it ain't you.
Mm.
And so I think, and this again links to other exploitative platforms, like streaming platforms, like the amount of money that artists actually get compared to the amount of money that these streaming platforms make advertising,
Facts.
because their work is on there. So it's definitely like really, really disappointing. And then I'm not even touching on the fact that she is an Asian young woman. What is up with that, Timbaland? What's going on there?
Yeah,
Like,
weird.
what? So this is like Shudu again, but it's like no one ever learns. Timbaland, you need to go back to that episode of Techish where we talk about Shudu, we talk about the dark skin AI model made by that white guy. And yeah, so many concerning weird things. I don't get it. I mean, by the time this episode comes out, we probably would have been replaced by AI avatars of ourselves because someone would have worked out it's cheaper to do that. So I don't know what to say. It's depressing, man.
Very depressing. And I think from the perspective of a producer, the mindset is interesting because as a producer, you're somebody who you can't sing, you can't rap. I mean, Timberland can rap a little bit, but he's not the singer or the rapper. So to me, a lot of this is about twofold. It's about control. It's about money. As the producer, you want to have complete control of the whole kind of creative process now. So you want to be able to say, I want to just tweak a machine till I get it exactly how I want it. I'm not bothered to deal with a singer who's going to get tired, who wants to come out now and speak about Gaza and gets the whole album project cancelled, who wants royalty splits, right? So now Timbaland, as the producer, can say, I'm not going to have to pay nobody no splits. I'm not going to have to deal with a human being who's got human feelings, going to have a tantrum, whatever, doesn't want to tour, whatever. I now have control and all the economic incentive to own everything, right? And it is messed up. And I got friends in the music industry. The fact that somebody of Timbaland's stature would co-sign this, that's a problem. It's one thing for the technology to exist. I feel like most people in the creative industries have basically shunned AI. They're not a fan of it. When certain corporations have tried to use AI, like I think in certain Star Wars projects, Disney used AI one time for like for the credits on one TV show. People were unhappy, and I think it's made large entities think, okay, let's slow down. I don't think there's
Mm.
complete acceptance yet using this in kind of official creative projects. But if
Yeah.
somebody of Timbaland's cachet to do it, that's a big deal. Like that's like Dre doing it. That's like Pharrell doing it. That's like he's one of the greatest hip hop producers of our lifetime. So are we gonna see other people follow suit? I don't know. And yeah, it's just interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the audience reacts. That's what I want to see. Will this get streams beyond just like morbid curiosity to see like what's it sounding like? Blah blah blah.
That's what I think is really interesting because we can say all we want, but if the beat slaps and people like the vocals, are they going to send that track to number one or the top 10 on the Billboard 100? Like, are people going to react
Hmm.
to it? Are people going to respond to it? One, are people going to notice? Because not everyone's reading the news like that. And two,
Hmm.
are people going to care? Like, there was a time when people were like, "Oh, auto tune is killing music," and now it's just here all the time in everything.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, sometimes we're a lot more high and mighty when it's just in theory. And then when it comes to practice, we're jamming away. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. I just wonder how like artists feel as well, because for a producer to be like, I don't actually need people. I feel so confident in my skills that I'm just gonna use
Yeah.
AI singers because I know how to make a hit. I am like 99% of the success here. So yeah, I don't know.
But then let's not act that like certain musicians were puppets. Like when Simon Cowell was producing music, he was completely in control. He picked the people based on looks, based on
Yeah.
certain archetypes, and then the music was written for them, and then they sang it like a puppet, and then they went on tour, and they probably didn't have that much
Mm,
ownership. They got told what to dance, how to dance, So it's like,
yeah.
is this just the next logical step? Where it's like we don't even need a real person anymore. We're just gonna get people, made out of zeros and ones to follow our instructions perfectly, and we're not gonna have to worry that some of them's gonna get drunk in a hotel and smash up the hotel room.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.